Leveling in Odyssey can take time, but there are many smart ways to speed up the process. I will share some tips on how I made it to the max level relatively fast, or how you can continue your main story as fast as possible, or simply get the most out of your time in terms of leveling. If you enjoyed that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go. There are multiple activities that give you a ton of XP compared to others. One of the main things are the conquest battles, rewarding you with the same XP that you find in really long main story missions. Only these battles take a few minutes if you got like a heavy blade or heavy blunt weapon and use the overpower attack. Or as I showed you in a previous video, go full hunter and use the multi-shot ability to kill a ton of opponents at once. Also, the more enemies you kill, the more XP you get during these battles. So pick your playstyle strategically to get the most out of these 150 versus 150 fights and complete them as fast as possible. So I would recommend that you check the map often to see what the status in the different regions is. If you see that one area is vulnerable, then I suggest that you always go there and teleport to a nearby spot to participate in one of those wars. If you don't do this, the chances are high that after you finish like a quest or do something else in the world, that the system plays itself and that you miss out on some good XP and gear. Because then you see that this area that was first weakened is now suddenly taken by the opposing faction. You, by the way, get 2 epic gear pieces if you help the faction attack, and 1 for helping Sparta defend, for example, if Athens tries to take it back. Most of the times regions are fortified, but I would even go as far as to say that if the region is weakened, so then you still need 1 bar to trigger the conquest battle, then I would also go there and interfere in this fight, because it means that you would only need the national treasure, or even easier, kill the leader in the area, and this is most of the times enough to bring the nation power low enough to trigger the conquest battles, or otherwise you just need to kill a few enemies or burn some resources. By just looking for the leader icon on the map, you should be able to find them easily, and the big forts mostly contain the national treasures. But before you go and hunt these leaders though, or burn their goods, kill the enemies from the controlling faction, you want to grab a lot of bounties in that region. Like, make it a routine to always check the bounty board in every town you visit, because high chance they include quests with insane rewards. And you know that the quest will give you an insane amount of XP by the yellow XP icon. And you will be doing the required things anyways if you participate in the war, and most of them are all over Greece as well. So in the end you will always complete them, and you can have, for as far as I know, an unlimited amount of bounties, so why not pick them all up. Some of these bounties have you kill specific enemy types of one faction, or kill the leaders, or mercenaries that are in the area anyway, so you can easily take them out. So when you try to trigger the conquest battles, you also complete the bounties. It really goes hand in hand and will reward you with a ton of XP in a relatively short period of time. I'm not entirely sure when the bounties come back on the board, like after a region has switched between factions could be one thing, or after you reach a new level, but in my experience I never ran out of these huge bounties with a ton of XP as a reward, so I could always do them over and over again. But of course you want to continue the main story as well, or while exploring the world you will also come across things that can reward you with a lot of XP if you play it wisely. While the regular locations don't give you a lot of XP in this game compared to the other activities, but if you like come across a location with just a few chests, or one captain and a few chests, then I totally recommend that you go in and complete it, since this will only take just a few minutes max to do, and then you still get a nice amount of XP for that time. You always want to complete the big forts, by the way, because they might have a lot of things that you need to collect, but the reward is worth it and comparable to the conquest battles. And yeah, when trying to trigger these conquest battles, you want to be in a fort anyway to burn all the resources or kill the man that will bring the nation power down by a lot. So if you are there, totally try and complete it, because that will really help you out. Another big XP reward is from the strong, like, sort of animals that are scattered across the map, like the boar I showed you in a recent video on the best weapons you can get early in the game. And there are many of these legendary animals in the game that can put up a fight. Like, Devastating Shot is your best friend during these fights. Try to dodge and hit them while you can. Anyway, killing them gives an insane amount of XP, and then you also get a quest item that you can bring back to the daughter of Artemis for another big XP reward. So it's basically double the XP for one activity. While sailing the sea, you can also get a good amount of XP thanks to the bounties that you should be swimming in if you followed my previous tips. There will be times where you will be traveling to another island because you haven't visited it yet, but instead of just cruising there, I would recommend that you look at your sea bounties and see if the ships that you need to kill are around. Because if they are, it will be totally worth it to go and track them down, like the pirate ships or Athenian ships for example, if you need them for one of those bounties, because the XP reward is like insane, the best for any bounty in the game. And this also falls in line with another tip I will share in another video with more general tips that might be up by the time you watch this, otherwise it will come a little later. Anyway, a tease for that video is that I recommend that you upgrade your ship as fast as possible, so you are also able to take on these bounties and kill these ships for the massive XP reward. So yes, a quick recap, try and look for the conquest battles whenever you look at the map and do them when they are available, otherwise you might miss out. Always visit the bounty boards like multiple times as well, and in every town you visit them to get all the bounties that you can then complete to trigger the conquest battles, or just when doing anything else in the game, because in the end you will complete them and that will give you a ton of XP. Complete the forts, the legendary animals as well, and also locations that you come across with a small amount of requirements. And don't ignore the sea bounties, because they give the best XP rewards in the game. I hope these tips help you in your quest to the max level. I have a very cool leveling tactic in mind that I want to try to level up Alexios really fast, and I will share it once I've tried it. So subscribe for everything Assassin's Creed Odyssey, like way more tips and tricks, in-depth looks at gear, weapons, and way more. Check out my video on the legendary weapons you can get early in the game, and I will speak to you next time. Goodbye!